What lies beyond the mountains that no man has ever crossed? Is there a force so great, a mystery so profound, that even the most powerful of kings would tremble before it? Let's find out about this interesting story in today's video. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, Naseeha Studio. Today we will be talking about the story of Dhul Qarnayn, the two-horned one. The tale of Dhul Qarnayn is a story steeped in mystery, adventure, and extraordinary lessons that have echoed through the corridors of history for centuries. Who was this enigmatic figure, and what did he discover on his journeys to the edges of the known world? From the deserts of the West, to the lands where the sun rises, and finally, to the mysterious northern barriers, Dhul Qarnayn's story is one of divine guidance, the pursuit of justice, and encounters with forces beyond human comprehension. The name Dhul Qarnayn itself, meaning the one with two horns, has sparked countless debates among scholars. Was he a literal figure, an embodiment of power and kingship, or a symbol of divine authority granted to a mortal man? The Qur'an speaks of his travels across vast lands, of his encounters with diverse peoples, and of his role in containing the formidable tribes of Gog and Magog. But who was he really, and what can we learn from his epic quest that spanned the very edges of the earth? As we delve into the narrative, we'll journey alongside Dhul Qarnayn, facing the challenges he faced, meeting the people he ruled, and discovering the profound wisdom that continues to inspire and intrigue to this day. The mysterious traveler, Dhul Qarnayn, was no ordinary king. He was a ruler blessed with both wisdom and power, a man who traveled far beyond the lands known to others of his time. His title, the Two-Horned One, was as mysterious as his identity. Some say it represented the extent of his dominion, stretching from the east to the west. Others believe it symbolized the strength and authority bestowed upon him by the divine. But who was this man, really? Was he a historical figure like Alexander the Great or Cyrus the Great? Or was he someone else entirely, someone whose true identity remains hidden in the annals of history? The Quran describes him as a just and righteous ruler, guided by God on a journey to bring justice and order to distant lands. Dhul Qarnayn was not just a king. He was a seeker, a man driven by a thirst for knowledge and a desire to understand the world beyond his own borders. His reputation as a fair and wise leader preceded him wherever he went. People looked up to him, not only for his power, but for his sense of justice and compassion. One day, Dhul Qarnayn set out on a journey that would take him to the very edges of the known world. But this was no ordinary expedition. It was a quest for understanding, a mission to discover what lay beyond the horizons that others dared not cross. His first destination was the farthest point to the west, where the sun sets. With a small but loyal group of followers, Dhul Qarnayn ventured into unknown territories, guided by a sense of purpose that came from within. He knew that his journey would not be easy, but he was determined to fulfill his mission, no matter the challenges he might face. As he traveled, he encountered different people, each with their own ways of life, their own struggles, and their own hopes. Dhul Qarnayn listened to them, understood their needs, and made decisions that reflected his deep sense of justice. He was not just a ruler, he was a protector, a guide, and a beacon of hope for those who lived in distant lands. But what would he find at the edge of the world? What challenges awaited him there, and how would his journey shape the course of history? These questions lingered in the minds of those who followed him, just as they continue to intrigue us today. The first journey, to the western edge. Dhul Qarnayn's journey led him to the westernmost point of the known world, where the sun appeared to set into a dark, muddy spring. This place was unlike anything he had ever seen, remote, mysterious, and full of ancient secrets. As he and his followers approached this strange land, they encountered a group of people living there. These people were different from those Dhul Qarnayn had met before. They lived simple lives, but they were troubled by injustice and suffering under the rule of a tyrant. They had no one to protect them, no one to bring them justice. Seeing their plight, Dhul Qarnayn knew he had to act. Guided by his sense of justice and the wisdom granted to him, he decided to help these people. But first, He had to make a choice. Should he punish the wrongdoers immediately, or should he give them a chance to change their ways? Dhul Qarnayn chose the path of mercy and guidance. He spoke to the people, teaching them about fairness, compassion, and the importance of living righteously. He gave the wrongdoers an opportunity to repent and change their ways. Those who listened and reformed were treated with kindness, but those who refused were dealt with justly. Through his actions, Dhul Qarnayn established order and peace in this distant land. The people came to respect and love him for his fairness and wisdom. He didn't just conquer lands, he conquered hearts by ruling with justice and mercy. As he prepared to leave this land, Dhul Qarnayn knew that his journey was far from over. The world was vast, and there were still many places to explore, many challenges to face. His next destination would take him to the opposite edge of the earth, the place where the sun rises. But what awaited him there? Would he encounter more people in need, or perhaps something even more mysterious? With these thoughts in mind, Dhul Qarnayn and his loyal followers set out once again, ready to face whatever lay ahead on their quest for truth and justice. The second journey to the eastern lands. After bringing justice to the western lands, Dhul Qarnayn turned his attention to the east, where the sun rises. This journey would take him to another distant and mysterious part of the world, where the people lived in a way that was entirely different from those he had encountered before. As Dhul Qarnayn and his followers traveled eastward, they eventually reached a land where the sun's rays were so intense that the people had little to no shelter from it. These people lived a simple life, with no structures to protect them from the harsh elements. They were a humble and peaceful people, untroubled by the complexities of civilization, yet they faced the challenge of living under the blazing sun every day. Seeing their situation, Dhul Qarnayn realized that these people didn't need the same kind of help as those in the West. They didn't suffer from injustice or oppression, but they lived in harsh conditions that required a different approach. He recognized that not every problem could be solved with power or force. Sometimes wisdom and understanding were the keys. Instead of imposing his rule or making drastic changes, Dhul Qarnayn respected the way these people lived. He understood that their way of life was closely connected to their environment and that they had adapted to their harsh conditions in their own way. Rather than changing their lives, he left them to continue as they were, with his blessing and guidance. Before departing, Dhul Qarnayn provided them with some advice and assistance that would help them better endure their conditions. He shared knowledge that could improve their way of life without disrupting their harmony with nature. The people were grateful for his wisdom and kindness, and they respected him for understanding their unique needs. With this journey complete, Dhul Qarnayn continued to move forward, knowing that his mission was not just about conquering lands or enforcing his rule, but about understanding and helping people in whatever way was best for them. His next and perhaps most challenging journey awaited him in the north, where he would face a threat that could endanger not just a single people, but the entire world. What lay ahead would test his wisdom, strength, and faith like never before. The story of Dhul Qarnayn was far from over, and his greatest challenge was still to come. The third journey, the northern expedition. Dhul Qarnayn's final and most challenging journey took him to the north, where he would face a threat unlike any he had encountered before. This time, it was not just about ruling wisely or helping people live better lives. It was about protecting humanity from a terrifying force. As Dhul Qarnayn traveled northward, he reached a region between two massive mountain ranges. Here he encountered a group of people who spoke a language he could barely understand. These people were in great distress and sought his help against a powerful and destructive force, the tribes of Gog and Magog. These tribes were known for their immense strength and their tendency to wreak havoc wherever they went. The people feared that they would soon overrun their land, bringing destruction and chaos with them. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Dhul Qarnayn knew he had to act swiftly. The people begged him to build a barrier that would keep Gog and Magog out, protecting their land and the rest of the world from their devastation. Dhul Qarnayn agreed to help, but he made it clear that he did not seek any reward for his actions. He saw this as a duty, a mission given to him by God. With the help of the people, Dhul Qarnayn gathered iron and copper, and together they constructed a massive barrier between the mountains. This barrier was so strong and well built that it would be impossible for Gog and Magog to breach or scale. Dhul Qarnayn's engineering skill and the cooperation of the people made this monumental task possible. Once the barrier was completed, the people were finally able to live in peace, knowing that they were safe from the threat of Gog and Magog. However, Dhul Qarnayn warned them that this barrier would not last forever. There would come a time, at the end of days, when the barrier would be breached and Gog and Magog would be released. This prophecy served as a reminder that all human efforts, no matter how great, are temporary, and that ultimate protection comes only from the divine. Having completed this final task, Dhul Qarnayn's mission was fulfilled. He had traveled to the farthest corners of the earth, bringing justice, peace, and protection to the people he encountered. His journey was not just about conquering lands, it was about spreading wisdom, justice, and the understanding that true power comes from God. As Dhul Qarnayn and his followers left the northern lands, he reflected on all that he had seen and done. His journey had taken him to the ends of the earth, but it had also brought him closer to understanding the limits of human power and the importance of divine guidance. The lessons of Dhul Qarnayn. Dhul Qarnayn's journeys were not just physical expeditions, they were spiritual and moral quests that taught profound lessons about leadership, justice, and the limits of human power. As we reflect on his story, several key lessons emerge that are as relevant today as they were in his time. 1. The power of justice. Throughout his travels, Dhul Qarnayn consistently demonstrated that true power lies in justice. Whether dealing with the oppressed people of the West, the humble people of the East, or the endangered people in the North, his actions were guided by fairness and compassion. He showed that a ruler's strength is not just in his ability to conquer, but in his commitment to doing what is right and just. 2. Respect for diversity. Dhul Qarnayn encountered many different cultures and ways of life during his journeys. He understood that each group of people had their own unique challenges and needs. Instead of imposing a one-size-fits-all solution, he respected their differences and offered help in ways that suited their specific circumstances. This teaches us the importance of understanding and valuing diversity in our world. 3. The limits of human power. The story of the barrier against Gog and Magog reminds us that even the most powerful human efforts have their limits. Dhul Qarnayn built a mighty wall to protect the people, but he acknowledged that it would not last forever. This serves as a reminder that all human achievements are temporary, and that we must always remain humble and seek guidance from a higher power. 4. The role of faith. Dhul Qarnayn's journey was deeply rooted in his faith. He was aware that his wisdom and strength came from God, and he always sought divine guidance in his actions. His story teaches us the importance of faith in guiding our decisions and actions, and in recognizing that there is a greater purpose beyond our individual lives. 5. The responsibility of leadership. Dhul Qarnayn saw his power as a responsibility rather than a privilege. He used his authority to protect, guide, and uplift others, rather than to serve his own interests. This is a powerful lesson for leaders of all kinds, reminding them that true leadership is about serving others and making the world a better place. As we conclude the story of Dhul Qarnayn, we see that his legacy is not just about the lands he traveled or the barriers he built, but about the timeless wisdom and moral lessons he left behind. His story continues to inspire us to pursue justice, respect diversity, acknowledge the limits of our power, and lead with humility and faith. The story of Dhul Qarnayn is more than a ruler's journey. It's a lesson in wisdom, justice, and faith. His travels teach us the value of fairness, respect for different ways of life, and understanding the limits of human power, all while staying connected to the divine. Though his true identity remains unknown, the lessons he imparted endure. Dhul Qarnayn's legacy reminds us that greatness lies in justice and compassion, not conquest. His story encourages us to lead with humility, protect others, and seek higher guidance in our lives. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. If you enjoyed this video and found it interesting, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more content celebrating the Islamic heritage. Your support really helps spread these important stories and teachings. We hope that Allah brings peace, happiness, and success to you and your family.